So I teach English 281, which is the introduction to English studies for usually new majors. And I use Star Wars to talk about genre, and specifically to talk about the generic conventions of storytelling. So when we think about generic conventions and genre, we look at places where a text fits into those and also where a text resists those, because how a text does that is going to depend on the cultural moment and cultural anxieties, shifts, trends. And so it's just as interesting to see, okay, here's where it upholds certain generic conventions and here's where it resists them. And Star Wars is particularly good for that. In our class, we look specifically at two genres. We look at the Western and we look at the fairy tale. So when we look at Star Wars or scenes from Star Wars in terms of the genre of the Western, we look at the black hat and the white hat, right? So Vader and Skywalker. We look at the lowly farmhand who goes up against the powerful villain. We look at the rakish gun for hire in Han Solo. We look at the saloon and the bar fights and the mining towns and the desert landscape and the shootouts and the showdowns. And we say, okay, how is this playing with that genre? And what does this say about it as an American story? When we look at it as a fairy tale, we actually begin with Lucas's own words. He said that he realized that we have no modern fairy tale. So by looking at the generic conventions of a fairy tale, like, again, that polarized, personified good and evil, the damsel in distress or the princess in peril, right, saved by the Jedi Knight, and the fantastic beasts and the magic. You have interesting gender and class statements being made with the way it resists the conventions of the fairy tale. It also upholds them in different ways. And I'd say the more recent Star Wars movies do that even more. You know, with something like Star Wars, it's accessible. Students engage with it immediately. It allows them to play with these ideas and get comfortable with them with a text that doesn't feel intimidating. And it's fun. I mean, it's Star Wars. Who wouldn't want to use Star Wars?